Good morning, guys. Number of things to talk about this morning, so let's go through them. Let's look at the lay of the land as we head into week 2 of the transfer window. Can you believe it? We're moving fast now. We are really moving fast. We're going to talk about some big deals that could happen this week, potentially, and of course we'll look at some other ones too. Let's start with Arsenal and Declan Rice. Arsenal pushing, really calm and confident in this position. Explained that before previously. Anyone that follows me knows that, and would like to get it done as soon as possible by the end of the month, which is this week technically. So Arsenal pushing on that. New bid to come in and talks ongoing. No problem with personal terms. There was never any worries about Declan Rice moving to a Bayern Munich in Arsenal's eyes. They knew that he wanted a Premier League and an England stay, specifically a London stay if possible. Manchester City could test the London stay theory. They could come in. They have understood the conditions that West Ham would be looking for and are monitoring that situation to perhaps make a bid themselves. And that could cause Arsenal some headaches, because we know that Manchester City have the ability to come in and blow anyone out the water with their financial power. But Arsenal in a very strong position with Declan Rice and pushing to get that done within the next week. Another club who are pushing to get a deal done within the next week is Chelsea with Caicedo. We did say that Chelsea's deal with Caicedo could stretch to the end of this month. Like I said, with Rice, same situation. Chelsea in a very good position here. They're the only club at the table at the moment, in talks with Brighton. Personal terms understood not to be a problem at this stage at all. Caicedo open to the move, and this is a key target for Chelsea Football Club. They are in talks, will resume today with Brighton on this deal. They want to get a good structure together for around the £80 million mark. Brighton and Chelsea both open in negotiations at this point in time, and barring any drastic changes, Chelsea should be able to get this over the line this week. Hopefully, in their eyes, that is what they are looking to do. We'll see if it will stretch any further than that, but my understanding is that is what they are looking to do. So Chelsea in talks with Caicedo, which could be a huge signing for them, and that moves us on to another midfield target. I did talk about the domino effect of how one midfielder could knock on where another midfielder ends up. And let's talk about Romeo Lavia. Anyone who follows me knows that I have been talking about Lavia. I've been following this for a while. So let me tell you where things lay. Chelsea have done a lot of work on Lavia. They do understand the conditions of what Southampton are looking for. They do know that Lavia would have an interest in a move as well. Otherwise, they wouldn't still be at the table also. Arsenal, Arteta, a huge fan of Lavia. He really likes the midfielder. And we know that Arsenal could also make a move. A lot has been made about the agents being connected. So the agent of Lavia, yes, is the same agent of Eddie Nketiah and the same agent of Bukayo Saka. But he's also the same agent of Jadon Sancho. And Jadon Sancho plays for Manchester United, obviously. And Manchester United have also had a look at Lavia. Does that mean he's signing for Manchester United? For sure. No. Does it mean he's signing for Arsenal? For sure. No. But it does mean that they do have a relationship with the club, with the player, with his agents, these clubs, and that is always helpful in a deal like this. So Chelsea, if they want Lavia, which my understanding is he's on the list, will have to move immediately after Caicedo. And Arsenal are also now considering moving immediately after Rice, which could make Lavia a really interesting prospect in the next couple of weeks. I said the end of this month, beginning of July, you're going to see this transfer window go boom. Well, that is what is about to happen potentially, especially with Romeo Lavia. So watch this space with him, because there's real potential for him to become the big story in the next couple of weeks. Look out for Thomas Partey leaving Arsenal, as well as obviously it's spoken about last night and reported this became wider. And this would bring Arsenal into the fear of a full midfield rebuild. Like I said, Arsenal were looking for multiple in there. I've said that from the beginning of the window. And that is why we're looking at the likes of Lavia. This is why I've mentioned watch out for the likes of Barella, etc. Because there's many midfielders on the market, and Arsenal could have a full midfield rebuild on their hands here. And Partey will also have knock-on effects for Arsenal's aggressive pursuit of Lavia. Does that go up a notch, or does it just stay as interest? So keep an eye on that for sure. There's absolutely no doubt that Arsenal, like Liverpool, are looking to bring in fresh faces and fresh legs. Kefran Turam, obviously a player Liverpool have done a lot of work on as well. Newcastle have got interest too, as first put out by Jack Talbot, I believe it was, at Football Transfers. So keep an eye on that. But Liverpool have done a lot of work on Turam, and I understand this, he would be keen to join at Anfield at this point in time. But as we've seen with this window, everything can change very, very quickly. It can literally be in the blink of an eye, for sure. Man United also, speaking of them obviously with Lavia, they obviously do want a striker. Now I'm told that Rasmus Hojlund is a key target, and I'm told that he is expecting some sort of movement from Manchester United in the next couple of weeks. We do understand that Atalanta are looking for a lot of money for Rasmus Hojlund, but we have to also understand how the deal would be structured and work. People talking about this £100 million mark need to also understand that that again would be a structured deal, likely not £100 million up front, although you never know, football's a mad business nowadays, and that would be inclusive of bonuses, inclusive of add-ons. So Manchester United could get a deal done here. They left the Harry Kane race simply because that was the same amount of money that Daniel Levy was looking for someone Harry Kane's age rather than a young striker like Rasmus Hojlund, for example. And potentially Manchester United could, if they get a good upfront fee and a good structured deal, could get him and one other in. However, we do know that the Man United financial situation at this point in time is a little bit unknown, isn't it? Because of the takeover conditions. We don't know what's happening there yet. Follow the amazing journalists who are covering that, the business journalists, but we don't know what's happening there yet, and that is obviously going to have a knock-on effect to Manchester United's summer, because they are in a position of spending what the Glazers would usually allow them to spend, or if the Qataris or Sir Jim Ratcliffe come in and give them a bigger budget, then that could completely change the game for Manchester United. So they are currently in the dark, and at Ten Hag, obviously looking for a goalkeeper as well at this point in time. We do know that the talks with David De Gea have been going on, but that is something that has stuttered a little because of a big bid from Saudi, who have also taken N'Golo Kante. They've taken Ruben Neves, which I'll touch on as well. Benzema is already there too. Hakim Ziyech, Khalidou Koulibaly, also expected now to leave Chelsea and go. And that will be a big part of this window for Chelsea, as the deals with Saudi. Lukaku also set to be offered a chance to go there as well, or already has been offered a soft offer at this point, but we're expecting something a bit bigger to come from that, from the Saudi side, in the next few days also. But like I talked about Neves going, what a deal for Saudi that is. Barcelona were keen on Ruben Neves, have been in constant contact with Ruben Neves, and Neves had agreed the deal to go to Barcelona. He said, yes, I want to come. But he got sick of waiting, in his words. He got sick of waiting for Barcelona because of their financial situation, the confusion around the club's certainty and being able to register players. He decided to accept and move. Massive deal for Saudi, massive deal for Ruben Neves. Of course, no wonder he's going to be making a huge amount of money while he's there. And you're starting to think, can you blame these players? They're getting the opportunity to play, get paid for a lot of money. And it's a bit up in the air because of Ruben Neves' age, whether it's a good move or not, but you can't blame people. Like anyone, they will take more money for the job they do, won't they? And he is certainly moving on. That Saudi not done yet. A lot of targets in the Premier League and also around Europe they hope to bring in. There's no way they will bring in all of them. Ben Jacobs wrote a fantastic piece on this the other night. Go and check it out. But there's no way they will bring them all in. But they have some big targets there. And Chelsea could see a number of their players, like I said, departing for Saudi, helping them in this window. Look out for Tonali and Barella as well in Italy during this window. AC Milan and Inter Milan at midfield. As Barella, we've talked about a lot. Not going to touch on him too much, but he could be an open race too. Just watch in the next couple of weeks the number of clubs who might have a look. Could Barella come up in the Chelsea and Inter Milan discussion? We'll wait and see in the coming weeks. Tonali at AC Milan is a player with a lot of interest in him as well. My understanding is Newcastle United have got a team of intermediaries out in Italy at this point in time and are looking to do business there. They would like to bring someone in. Tonali is a player who has been rightfully reported as on their list, but that is still very early. We're waiting for anything more official on that because it might not move from on their list at this point in time. Also, I've spoken previously about the amount of money being touted in reports. We'll wait and see on that front. Inter Milan or AC Milan would demand big fees for both these guys, so it will take a little bit of negotiation to bring that down. Speaking of Inter, Trevor Chabala in Milan, yes he was, of course. Inter Milan, have reported before, have had a year-long interest in him, inquired about him in January and would like to bring him in. Chelsea still to let Shabala know whether they are keen to let him go at this point or not, and it has to be a deal like every other deal that suits both parties, that suits Chelsea and Inter Milan and the player himself. So we'll wait and see on that front. There is a lot going on in the coming days. Scamacca at West Ham is another one. There is reports that he has agreed personal terms with Roma and is set to go. I can't verify that myself, but we do know that there's a lot of interest in Italy in Scamacca. He's not a player with low interest. There's a lot of people who are interested in him, and there has been some murmurs that he perhaps would be open to a return to Italy as well. Myself, like I said, I can't verify at this point in time the reports that he has agreed any terms with anyone else, but let's wait and see what happens. Obviously, I'm not digging out any other journalist. Lots of independent journalists have their own sources there, and they could be right, and I'm behind the race on that one. But Scamacca has got a lot of interest and is a player really to look out for in the coming weeks. A lot of interesting times ahead. We're only 5 days into this window, 6 days. I've lost track of time now. So 5 days into this window, and look where we're at already. It's going to get busier, it's going to get faster, it's going to get more intense as time goes on. So make sure you're following us at Football Insider. All the information below in the description. You can find my Twitter clickable link in the description as well. Make sure you hit like and subscribe, really helps us out. And we'll see you. I'll be on Twitter later for a wee live space as well if you're interested. And we'll see you in the next one. Cheerio.